Ok, damas, yo le dije ya la regla, you know the rules. Obey my command all the time. Obedezcan todos los comandos que le dé. Protect yourself all the time. Good luck.
So what a moment for Kiria Tapia. You heard the ovation for her here at the Coca-Cola Music Hall. And as much attention as Amanda Serrano has justifiably received for what she's done for women's boxing, for Puerto Rican boxing, Kiria Tapia's 2011 Pan Am Games gold medal also opened a lot of doors for women here on this island in this sport. And now Kiria Tapia gets to fight here on DAZN in San Juan. This one's scheduled for 6. It's Tapia and Dudek, 6 rounds in the super featherweight division.
And it's interesting that Tapia gives Amanda Serrano also great credit for inspiring amateur boxers. But yeah, that Pan Am gold was very instrumental in getting women involved here. And she's an electrifying performer. You know, it starts with that great smile and her infectious energy and the fact that she's a heck of a boxer.
See Tapia breaking the guard of Dudek there a moment ago with that straight left hand. Tapia, as we mentioned, trained by Yvonne Calderon. She said she's always had a style kind of reminiscent of Calderon's, and her partner told her when she was considering turning pro, Raul, if you're going to turn pro, you should be trained by Yvonne Calderon. He's the one who can make you world champion.
I agree. I mean, I see a lot of his style in Tapia. And they did talk about it, her trying to sit down more on her shots, be more of a little bit more of an action fighter, kind of look for the knockout. And I see that that's what she's doing early in this fight. You see her applying pressure. She's been bobbing and moving like side to side, landing that left hand. I see a lot of Yvonne Calderon in her.
Well, it's that action that Dudek, quite frankly, is trying to avoid. Dudek expressed some concern about the weight differential and about Tapia's power if she were to try to work on the inside. So Dudek told us, listen, I'm almost exclusively looking to work on the inside, which is on the outside, excuse me, which is exactly what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, that's what she did this whole round.
Oh, hard right hook there from Tapia. A little bit of a footwork issue, but wow, that will be scored a knockdown. That is a very puzzling call. But it will be scored a knockdown nonetheless.
I don't think her glove even hit.
Yeah, Dudek was shaking her head. She's not too happy about that.
In that last round, Tapia was the aggressor. There's the right hook to the body that kind of sent Dudek. It was called a knockdown. There it is right there. Unless her glove did touch, which it just didn't seem like it did.
Yeah, it didn't.
But it was called a knockdown nonetheless.
It looked like she was more like off balance, Al.
Yeah, and if her glove had hit, that would be, I guess the right hand would have scored a knockdown.
I mean, it did not look like her glove was anywhere near the canvas as round 2 begins. And for Beata Dudek, who told us she was concerned about fighting on the road, what the scorecards would look like, there in the opening 2 minutes, you get a really dodgy call. That does not inspire confidence for Dudek.
No, that's not so great. Dudek, you mentioned the Howling fight where she boxed and moved for virtually the whole fight. Obviously, that's what she's going to try and do here tonight. Last 2 fights at 119 pounds, not up at this weight, comfortably. So she's going to have to just try and box as effectively as she can during the course of this fight.
See Tapia doing some work on the inside. This is where Dudek said she does not want to be. And she is eating some shots right now as Dudek just trying to find some space to breathe.
The biggest mistake that Dudek is doing when Tapia attacks, she has her chin high up in the air, back it up straight. Back up in the air, she should move, take a step back and angle off of that. That chin up in the air doesn't look good, and she puts her hands down too.
Beth Howling's a very good fighter, And I'll tell you what, Tapia's gotten more done offensively against Dudek here in this round than Howling did in much of that fight. So that's kind of an impressive feather already in Tapia's cap, although certainly we're a long way from the end of this fight. Maybe.
A big sweeping left hand there from Tapia, and the right hook from Tapia working as well. To your point, Al, as we pointed out, Dudek has almost exclusively been facing fighters who are currently world ranked. And Tapia, to be doing what she's doing right now, is certainly making a statement.
Yeah, Tapia being really aggressive in this round, punishing the body, going upstairs, pushing Dudek back. There she goes, standing up straight again, Corey.
Two left hands right down the pipe, the perfect target for Tapia to aim at. And another dominant round for Kiria Tapia. Riyadh Season 6 Kings Grand Slam tennis tournament comes to a close on Saturday. Don't miss the final matches. Go and join my boy Ade Oladipo on the courts and enjoy that one.
The way that Tapia is getting this done so far in this fight is impressive. You know, she's jabbing her way in. There's the straight left hand. She was also showing head movement as part of what she did and going to the body, Ro.
Yeah, and I know I keep saying that, but you see Dudek, that's dangerous. When you back up like that with your chin up in the air, I mean, you're an easy target, and that's why Tapia keeps connecting her every time she backs up.
So round 3 underway.
And you know, less people think we're gilding the lily about her amateur career. She beat Michaela Meyer twice. She beat Erica Cruz. She beat Tiara Brown. So she has beat some fantastic fighters.
Yeah, some gargantuan amateur wins for Tapia over current world champions, recent world champions, #1 contenders. And Tapia took some time away from the sport after suffering a ruptured Achilles back in 2016, then gave birth. So it took about 3 years away from the sport, but she says came back feeling completely refreshed.
Oh, she got killed there by Dudek.
Yeah, landing a good right hand. You know, Dudek is one of those fighters that if she would just throw that right hand more often, I was feeling that watching the video of her, she could be more effective. She just can't seem to get that punch going.
Well, I think Tapia's going to be there all the time.
Oh, huge shots there from Tapia. The head snapping back from Dudek.
Again, Dudek not letting her punches go like you said, Al.
Dudek a little bit off balance as she's trying to create space. And, you know, some of these sequences, Raul, are a little problematic for Dudek. Remember, of course, that knockdown in round 1, a little bit controversial, but that says to me, okay, maybe we have an official, might be a little bit quick on the trigger, and you're seeing Dudek as she's pulling back, her head snapping back, the eyes are rolling back. It's a bad visual for a referee.
And, you know, if you notice her legs, she's a little bit shaky on her legs when she backs up. You want to say she might have been out balanced, but no, I think she's getting hurt.
Once again on Saturday, it's the Battle of the Giants as Francis Ngannou returns to MMA and challenges heavyweight champion Renan Ferreira. That's Saturday, live here on DAZN.
There we see that constant pressure, pinpoint left hand, solid. Tapia really sitting down on her shots. Dudek backing up straight, really shaky on her legs. I think she really got hurt in this round. I think Tapia needs to keep that sequence going, the way she throws her combinations, and she might be able to stop her.
Well, dominant performance from Kiria Tapia thus far, but Al, I think it's fair to ask the question if maybe we're seeing the effects in Dudek of that wood chipper of opposition that she's been running through over the last year or so, too.
Yeah, it's a very good point. She's had one tough fight after another. Again, the stepping up in weight is another issue as well. So she's the kind of person that she's not unskilled as a boxer, and she has these certain physical attributes if she fights at a certain weight. They might need to rein her in a little bit and get her in against somebody she has a better chance to beat.
Well, and by her own admission, again, going back, as Dudek just gets clobbered by 2 overhand lefts. Admittedly has hesitation about getting to the inside, and at long range, she's just getting picked apart.
Tapia does, I mean, there's that good right hook down to the body. You know, Kiria Tapia, when she does everything right when she's coming in, she jabs her way in. For the most part, there's head movement, although they probably are working on that a little bit to make it a little better. And she goes downstairs, so she's a tough person to deal with when she's attacking.
Well, Tapia signed with Peter Kahn in January of last year. Kahn, of course, handles the careers of the likes of Andy Cruz and Xander Zayas, and he might have one of the best prospects, even at the age of 34, in women's boxing on his hands right now.
That was 3 solid overhand lefts by Tapia. Call that a buffet of left hands that Dudek is eating up. And if you notice, Tapia, every round as the rounds go by, she's been attacking more. I really believe there's a little bit of pressure on her to get that knockout, her first knockout. She's only 4-0, and we did talk about how bad does she want to get a knockout, and it seems like she's really looking for it tonight, Corey.
Yeah, different level of aggression coming from Tapia here tonight. As the seconds tick away in another dominant round for the Pan Am Games gold medalist.
Tapia had, as Raul said, a buffet of left hands. She didn't even have to jab her way in to get those left hands off. They were lead lefts, and she just kept throwing them over and over again. You mentioned her age, Corey. At 34, of course, she got a late start as a pro. She said to us, I do need to move fast. I have to stay active, and she wants to get a world title chance within a year.
Well, a performance like this will certainly aid her in her quest as round 5 begins. Corey Erdman, El Diamante, Raul Marquez, and Al Bernstein on the call for you here tonight. As Tapia digs downstairs to the body. We've seen her use that right uppercut quite a bit in this fight as well. And funny enough, that's one of the reasons why Yvonne Calderon is training her here today. The two of them sparred when Tapia was 12 years old, and Calderon said, she hit me with an uppercut and it messed my jaw up. That had never happened to me before. I knew she was going to be something special that day.
Yeah, that's pretty extraordinary.
I mean, if you could hit Yvonne Calderon at all, that's something extraordinary.
Yeah, that was amazing,
Beautiful right hook again from Tapia, and the left hand comes right down the pipe behind it.
Tapia giving her a little bit of feint. Really fast on cutting that distance.
We talked about Dudek and her tough schedule and everything, and we're seeing the toughness that she exhibits. She's been hit with some big shots by Tapia and has hung in there.
Well, Dudek competed more than once at the World Amateur Championships, and last year was still oscillating between the pros and the amateur circuit. She was a semifinalist in the Hungarian Nationals last year.
And she works as a trainer, training boxers, so she's invested in the sport completely.
Well, Kiria Tapia still invested to the body, but Dudek finding a little bit more space here in round 5, but not there. She just got cracked with a couple sweeping hooks in the final moments of round 5. Sugar Shane Mosley in the house.
This is the 6th and final round.
6th and final round.
Oh, wow.
And boy, Kiria Tapia coming out gunning.
Big bombs by Tapia. I'm telling you, she really wants that knockout. She's really trying to get Dudek out of there in this round.
Dudek trying to fire back with that right hand.
You know, it's funny, you can almost feel the urgency Tapia has. Like, this fight is like in microcosm what she is thinking about in her career. Like, I gotta get there in a hurry, and I'm going after it. And this is what she's doing in this fight. And only the toughness of Dudek is keeping her in this fight.
Yeah, to your point, Al, both Tapia and her trainer, Yvonne Calderon, feel that she could be world champion by next year, but they're also honest. They think, listen, she maybe has 4 or 5 years of a pro career, so yeah, it does have to happen fast.
And I think because she beat all those great, as we see her teeing off, because she beat all those great ladies in the amateurs who are now champions, you could see that happening. This is great action here.
Punches and bunches by Tapia. That's what she needs. A lot of flurries and then sit down on her shots and then go back to flurries. That'll cause the referee to stop the fight.
Yeah, she got Dudek punching back in that exchange.
Well, Dudek really had no choice there, or this fight might have been stopped if she hadn't moved her hands. As she gets blasted by another right hook, and there's that uppercut, a sneaky shot from Tapia that forces Dudek to grab a hold.
You know, Dudek landed a really nice right hand a moment ago. It didn't have a huge impact, but and there it is again. She's a fighter who needs to throw that punch.
Beata Dudek, double tough, taking a lot of punishment here tonight. And Kiria Tapia, just an offensive showcase here in San Juan.
Sometimes you have a very exciting one-sided fight, and that's exactly what that was.
Well, next Saturday, Jack Catterall takes on two-time world champion Regis Prograis live from Manchester, England, right here on DAZN.
Can't wait to see that fight. That should be a fun battle of lefties.
We had a lot of fun watching this lefty here. Kiria Tapia, no knockout, but a thrilling performance all night long from her.
You really can't say anything negative about her performance. Besides, you know, maybe a little bit of head movement, because she did get caught every now and then by Dudek with the right hands, like you said, Al. Had Dudek thrown more right hands, even towards the end of the fight, when Tapia was coming forward, you saw Dudek throw a nice 1-2 hook and landed on Tapia. So, you know, when you get a girl that has more power and she gets caught by shots like that, you never know what could happen.
And I think she's invested in this kind of style as a professional, right? She knows she wants to be marketable, she wants to win and win dramatically, and so with it comes a few inherent risks, but she's committed to that.
Well, as you mentioned, the built-in storylines of those world champions that she beat in the amateurs that maybe she could face in the pros, and we mentioned being signed to Peter Kahn. Listen, boxing power brokers aren't flawless all the time in
Right.
their scouting, but generally speaking, if a fighter is signed to a manager like that, you know you're going to have to pay attention to them for the next little while.
Chances are they have a bright future.
Kiria Tapia looking like she has the goods. And Beata Dudek still with a smile on her face.
She was a delightful woman to talk to.
Absolutely.
And just seems like the most earnest, straightforward person that you'd want to bump into.
Earned a lot of respect here tonight. Might have earned herself another torturous assignment like this one.
No.
We are just about ready to make this one official as we send it up to Thomas Driver.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards, and all 3 judges score it the same. Los 3 jueces están de acuerdo con tarjetas idénticas de 60 a 53, 60-53 for your winner by unanimous decision para el ganador por decisión unánime. And still undefeated, Kiria Tapia.
So Kiria Tapia with a shutout unanimous decision, including that knockdown that probably should not have been a knockdown, but nonetheless, 60-53 across the board for Kiria Tapia as we take a look back at some of the action.
As you look at that fight in microcosm, it started out with that kind of dubious call of a knockdown, but it was emblematic of the pressure that Tapia put on Dudek, and it continued throughout. This was the sequence where she kept landing those lead left hands. Mostly she jabbed her way in, and it was a lot of pressure on the inside. And it resulted in that impressive win for Tapia.
So Kiria Tapia now 5-0 as a professional